I'd like to now show you how to log in and type in a little SAS program. The SAS program is going to look a little bit like gibberish to you at this point because we really haven't covered SAS, but I think it would give us some very good practice with VI. So the first thing that you have to do is if you are off campus, you must use a VPN. If you're on campus, you don't have to deal with this, but if you're anywhere else in the world, including at home or at a cafe, you're going to need a VPN. So you can download the Cisco VPN for free from Northwestern. In the course packet, previous slide or so, there's a place where you can click to get that. All right. So I'm currently sitting at home, therefore I have my VPN connected. I would run this, and then earlier I typed in my net ID and password to get in. All right, so again, if you're not off campus, you don't need to deal with that. Next thing that you're going to need to do is get a terminal window open. So you can either use X11 or a secure shell terminal. To do this on a Mac, you're going to go to Finder. So I'm going to bring Finder up. Where's my Finder? Here's Finder. And you want to go to Applications. Under Applications, you want to go way down to Utilities. And there's two utilities that'll work. One is Terminal. The other is X11. The benefit of X11 is that you can use eVim, which is easier to use. You can also have an interactive session going. I prefer Terminal, so I'm going to just use Terminal. I've got a copy of this on my dock, and so I'd recommend you can drag this to your dock if you want. It makes it much easier to use. You can also have a shortcut on a PC. All right, so if you do this, you get a window like this. Oops, so this is the window that you get. This is a Unix prompt. So on a Mac, Mac sits on top of Unix. So I have a Unix prompt here. On a PC, you're going to have to type in your net ID and password to get to harden. All right, but let's do this on a Mac since I'm on a Mac. So we're going to type in this SSH business. So SSH is a command that will connect me to another computer. So if I type SSH ECM at harden.it.northwestern.edu, this connects me to the computer, and it says, okay, I need ECM's password. So I'll type my password in, and now I'm on harden. Now, the next thing I wanted you to do is to make a special folder for your class files. It's not good practice to just dump everything in your home directory. So we're going to make a folder that's just for class files. And I do that up here, you'll see, with make directory class. So let's go type that in. So mkdir makes a directory. What do I want to call that directory? Well, I want to call it class. Now if I do an ls, that's going to list all the files and folders in this root directory of mine. And you'll see that I have a whole lot of stuff. You will only have one folder out there, presumably class, and that's it. All right, so you'll see class is now listed. And if I want to get to that folder, I'm going to do a change directory. So cd class changes my directory. And you'll notice that the prompt has been changed to reflect this. So I'm now in the class directory. Another way to determine this is to do a PWD. So PWD stands for print working directory, and it tells me that I am in this folder. So ECM class. Now, if I do an ls at this point, which is I think the next thing in my list, you'll see there's nothing in class, so there are no files currently in this one. ls can look at other locations. So if I do ls ... that means look at the previous directory, so the directory that sits above this one, and that's called my root directory. and it has everything, and you'll see that, you know, class was there. So it's exactly what we had before. Now, another directory that's very important for us is you'll see SSCC datasets IMC498. So this is a directory that everyone in the class has access to, and it has all of our datasets in it. So I'm going to do an ls/sscc datasets IMC498. And you'll see that there's only one file in that folder. It happens to be a SAS dataset called employee. This is that Siegel dataset. All right, the next thing I'd like to do is to make a SAS program. So the SAS program that I'm going to make is called Siegel.SAS. And we're going to do this with the VI editor. Now you could use evim, but I think there's a lot of benefit to learning VI. So let's do that. I'm going to show you some of the powerful features in VI. So to do this, we're going to type VI Siegel.SAS. If I hit enter, I'm now in VI. And VI, remember, has two modes. I'm currently in the edit mode. So what edit mode means is that all the keys have special meanings. So if I hit K, my computer just beeped at me. The reason that it beeped at me is K means go one line down. It's like the down arrow, but there aren't any lines in this file, so it can't go down. That's why it's beeping at me. To go into insert mode, you're going to type I. So now once I hit I'm now in insert mode. And if I type the letter K at this point, you'll see K appears on the screen. If I type it again, it goes on the screen again. All right. If I hit enter, it goes down a line. Now I'm going to type my name, Ed. All right. To exit insert mode, we could hit escape, and you'll see that the insert disappears. Now at this point, if I hit K goes up, J goes down. So I've just hit K, J, H goes left, L goes right. So H, J, K, and L are like your arrow keys. This way you never have to leave the home position if you're a touch typist. All right. So I've just made my first little file. If I want to write this out, I'll do write, quit. And now if I do an ls, you'll see that there's a program out there called Siegel.SAS. This really isn't a program, it's just a bunch of garbage in there, but we now have this file. If I want to display it from the Unix prompt, I use cat Siegel.SAS, and you'll see it has the KK and the ed in there. Okay, this is not what we want to do though. We want to type in this program. So let's go back to this. So to bring this up, I type vi Siegel.SAS. And I need to get rid of this stuff. This is not a SAS program, this is just me messing around. So the quickest way to get rid of everything in this file is to delete it all. And you do that with delete, so hit D, and then capital G. So the way to think about this is you're deleting to the end of the buffer. So capital G means go to the end of the file. So delete everything from the current location, which is the top of the file where the cursor is at, to the end of the file. So D, capital G, deletes everything. So it's like we're starting over. Now let's type this program for real. I'm going to hit little I to go into insert mode. You'll note that at the bottom of the screen, it clearly indicates that you are now in insert mode. And let's go start typing away. Now my convention is to type any SAS reserved word in all uppercase so that it stands out. Libname is such a word, and VI immediately recognizes it as a SAS reserved word and turns it light blue. I'll be explaining what libname does in a later video. It's going to assign a library name, SSCC. This can be whatever you want, but let's just call it SSCC. And then we're going to assign it a physical location on this disk /SSCC. This is that place we did a listing of earlier. Datasets IMC498, and hit semicolon. So every don't forget your semicolon. Now I'm going to hit return. I'll hit return again. And let's type the next line. So proc contents. So SAS changes the color on this. Data equals sscc.employee semicolon, and then run. I'm going to put one more return in there. Now, we could just continue typing. So we could type proc print, whatever, proc means, whatever, proc freak, whatever. And if you want to do that, fine. It's not going to hurt you. But if you look at what we're going to have to type, there's a whole lot of repetition there. So these next three blocks, proc print, proc means, proc freak, is pretty much the same block. There's a data equals something or other, and then there's a run statement. So there's a whole lot more in common with these statements than there's different. So it'd be more efficient to just copy this proc contents business 3 times and then change the word contents to print the first time, change it to means the second time, and freak the third time. So I think this will help you realize the power of VI. Let's hit escape. So now we're back in edit mode. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the before contents. So one way to do that would be to hit K 3 times. So I'm hitting little k 3 times, or I could use the up arrow if I want. Now I need to cut or yank the proc contents line. So to do that, I'm going to hit little y, and then I'm going to hit the right curly brace. The right curly brace takes me to the end of a paragraph. So I'm going to hit shift, right bracket, which is the right curly brace. And there's a message saying that 3 lines have been yanked. Now to go to the end of the file, I'm going to hit cap G. There's capital G, takes me to the end of the file. I also could have hit JJJ. And I'm going to put this. So if I do a capital P, it puts it. Now so I need to actually put it 2 more times. So I could just hit capital P twice. Or I could hit 2, I just hit the letter 2 and then capital P, and it puts it 2 more times for me. Now, what I need to do is find the word contents. So I'm going to do a slash, and then I'll do cont, or I can do contents, whatever. So we'll do slash contents, and it takes me to the next occurrence of the word contents. It's kind of hard to see, but the cursor's on this C of this next line. So make sure your cursor is there. If it isn't, you got a problem. All right, now I need to change contents to print. To do that, I'm going to change a word. So I'm going to hit little c, little w. That puts me in insert mode, so it deletes the word contents, and it places me in insert mode. Now I'm going to type print, and I'll hit escape. Now, if you notice, I also have this obs equals business at the end of the line. So if I want to go insert that, I want to go to the end of the line. So the fastest way to the end of the line is to hit $. So $sign takes me to the end of the line. Now I'm going to hit little I to go into insert mode, and I'll type that expression. So obs equals 10. Now I need to leave insert mode, so I hit escape. And I want to get to the next occurrence of the word contents. So I'm going to hit little n. So it just found the word contents. You're going to see the cursor is now here at that contents. I need to change this to means. So to do that, I'm going to hit C for change, W for word. So it deletes the word contents, places me in insert mode. I type means. To leave insert mode, I'm going to hit escape. Now I'm going to hit next. So N for next, finds the next occurrence of the word contents. We're going to change a word, so CW. Now I need to type freak. Hit escape. Now if you look in the course packet, there's another line with the freak statement. It's table train lev. All right, so how am I going to make insert this? Well, the way to insert that is to open a line. So I'm going to hit little o. So little o puts you in insert mode after opening a new line. So we've opened a new line. Now it's a good idea to indent this. You don't have to, but it's a good idea. So I'll hit 2 space bars, table, train left. Hit semicolon, hit escape, and we're all done with our SAS program. So I've typed in the SAS program, exactly. To get out of VI, we're going to do a colon write. So write just writes it. If you do a write quit, it writes it and then quits. It brings you back to the Unix prompt. Now, if we wanted to run this, following the course packet, I'm going to type SAS sigle.sas. And Unix goes off, calls up SAS runs it. Let's do an ls. And so what you're going to see is that SAS has now created 2 new files. So one file is .log, sigle.log. This is a log of what SAS did, and the listing file is the output. So to edit all 3 of these files, I'm going to do a vi sigle.star. This will edit all files that begin with the word sigle, dot, and then anything. So the first file that comes up is .log, since that's the first in alphabetical order. And this just has a record of everything that's been done. So what you'll see is that SAS has successfully assigned this libname. It looks like it successfully ran contents. All right, cool. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger for us. By the way, to go down a page in VI, you use Control F. And to go back a page, it's like page down, page up is Control B. So that's Control B, Control F goes down. And perhaps the most important thing about this log is you want to make sure there are no error messages. So there is no error message in here, so it looks like everything was fine. We could search for error. So if I do a /error, hit enter, you're going to see pattern error not found. That's good news, so that means I didn't make any mistakes. To go to the next file, we're going to hit colon. So colon brings you to the colon, and then little n brings you to the next file. So little n means next file. And here is a listing of the output. Let's make this a little bit bigger so that we can see it. This is it's like the contents of a book. It tells us what's in this data set. So there's a data set, sscc.employee, has 71 observations, 6 variables, and it tells us about the physical location down here. Here's the location. It gives us a listing of the variables. So we have age, annual salary, and so forth. So that's what proc contents does. It gives us this listing of what's in the data set. If we scroll down a little bit, so by the way, I'm hitting Control E to scroll down. And what you'll see is that we now have a listing of the first 10 observations. So here's your employee number variable, annual salary, and so forth. As you keep going down, you will see that there is some means, standard deviations, mins and max. So this is kind of like descriptives in SPSS. Gives you basic summaries of all numerical variables. And then at the bottom is the output from procfreq. So you're going to see a frequency distribution for the training level variable, and there's 38 cases with training level 1 and so forth. All right, if we want to see our SAS program, remember we did a vi sigle.star, hit n, colon n, and this brings us back to the SAS program. To get out of this, you hit colon q, and you're back at the SAS prompt. I'll just demonstrate one more thing. We can display, siegel.sass as I did before with the cat command, and this just displays it all to the screen. Occasionally you want to do something like that. Another command is grep. So grep searches for all occurrences of a regular expression. So for example, if we wanted to pull out only the lines that had the word proc in them, so if I said grep proc siegel.sass, this will display only the lines in siegel.sass having the word proc in them. If I want to have a word count, so how big is this file? I do WC for word count, and it tells me there's 15 lines, 21 words, 215 characters in siegel.sass. If I do an ls, you get the files. If I do an ls minus l, it gives me all the details. And so this this line this column gives us the size. So notice there's 215 bytes in siegel.sass, which matches up what you get in the word count. So word count's really useful when you get a new data set and you want to just find out how many lines are in it before you bring it into the program, into SAS or SPSS, whatever you're using. One more thing. So once you're completely done with your session, if you want to exit, you could type exit, and that would cause you to leave Harden. So notice the connection to Harden has been closed. And if you want to get on terminal mode on a Mac, you type exit, and that exits that terminal. I have two terminal windows open. Okay, so I strongly encourage you to go through everything I just did, make sure it works, practice it 5 times, and make sure you kind of have it memorized.